Hey everyone, it's Chris with HotShotsCatering.com, and I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today for another great episode of Hot Shots TV. Now, if you don't know who I am and why I'm dressed this way, then you're going to want to like, share, and subscribe to this channel because we talk everything about the gourmet coffee experience. Now, today's episode is actually part 2 of the previous episode, which was all about this guy over here, the Aeropress. So we're gonna dive right into it today. Very first off, remember I mentioned in the previous episode that I was actually gonna bring you and test different ways to make coffee to compare to the Aeropress. Now, if you're not familiar with the Aeropress, go check out that other video. I'll have it linked down here in the description box or somewhere in this video here. But check out that first video, which is all about the Aeropress. And if you don't know about the Aeropress, it is claimed to be the best way to brew a cup of coffee. So we're gonna see. We're gonna put that to the test. We have our standard, this is kind of like a Mr. Coffee. This is our Walmart coffee brewer. You guys that have been following me for a while know that I've put this thing through its paces and really tested it out. This is also, we're gonna compare it to a French press, the Aeropress to a French press, and see what is the difference. I find that they're very similar in the way that they're gonna produce coffee. And then we also have this, which is more like a Chemex, but this is Ovalware's pour over unit, which I haven't demoed yet, but we do sell this on shophotshots.com. So if you guys are interested in this guy, we're gonna come out with a video soon. But today's video is really just showing what a pour over can do compared to the Aeropress. So if you guys are ready to dive into it, so am I. Stay tuned and we will be right back. And welcome back. So let's go over the different methods we're going to test today and compare to our Aeropress coffee maker here. So the first one is basically our $12 Walmart coffee brewer. You guys are very familiar with this thing, but if you don't know how it works, basically you're just going to put your coffee in with the funnel, and then you're going to put your water in and you turn it on, flip a switch, and it basically cascades some water hot water over top of your ground coffee in a funnel, in a paper funnel, and then it brews down into this glass carafe, and the base keeps it hot, has a little heater that keeps the coffee hot for a couple of hours. The next one here is our French press, which like I said is very similar to the actual Aeropress. I'm gonna be curious to see the big difference. I'm gonna bet one of the biggest difference is maybe not so much in taste, but is going to be that you're not going to get as many grounds in the Aeropress like you would with a French press, because there is, even though there is this screen filter here, that when you put your coffee in here and you put your hot water and it all comes to the top, and then you put this on and you actually do your French press and push this thing down, there is still some coffee and oils and things that do get by, obviously, the little sides here. The next one is, like I said, more like a Chemex. This thing is really cool, by the way, so I can't wait to review this for you guys. But it even has like a little glass holder here where you hold your coffee and you get the proper measurements. Chemex doesn't have anything like that as far as I've checked. So we're gonna utilize this. This one actually doesn't have a paper filter. I don't think that's gonna make a big difference for what we're testing today. But basically we're just gonna put coffee in here. We're gonna pour our hot water on top. Very much actually like this in that way, to where we're actually gonna pour the hot water on here, stir it. This one we're not gonna stir. We're just gonna let it saturate and then see what the end result is. And then of course we have our Aeropress over here. So without further ado, I want to make this kind of a quick video, as quick as possible, because there's a lot of things for us to talk about here and test. So I want to get into that right now, and you guys stay tuned, watch, and we will begin our brewing process right about now. Okay, so we just finished brewing our fabulous coffee here with all these different methods. Now the next thing we got to do is try them. Now before I go into detail and go into start trying them, I want to let you guys know is that we brewed all the coffee with Lavazza. This is their Gran Aroma. So it's kind of a medium blend coffee. You know us, we love our Lavazza coffee. So we are using this coffee to brew and test all these so that we have all pretty much the same flavor when I go through and tasting these. Another thing I want to say is the water was all the same. When you saw in the video when I did the scoops of coffee in each one, and some of them I said one, some of them I did this, I did two. Basically some of these methods, as you know, like a French press and some of that, it's really hard to do just one serving. Same thing with a pour over. Though the pour over I did a one serving, I should say actually more of the standard coffee brewer here. You know, I could do one serving on that, but just the velocity of some of these items, volume, I guess, of some of these items is actually really big. And so it just makes it, to me, I don't feel like it's a good method of doing just one serving to really get the optimum result. So the ones that I did two was the French press, I did 2 scoops, and then this brewer here I did 2 scoops, which is technically 2 servings. So we still poured 1 serving out of these, each of these items. But just so you guys know, I actually brewed for 2 in this, and then these guys I brewed for 1. So let's go ahead, we're gonna taste them. Now the things I'm looking for is like acidity, flavors, all these different types of things. And I've let the coffee sit just a little bit so that they kind of acclimate a little bit. As you know with coffee, you know, this is gonna be as scientific as I can get. But really what we're looking for, I think, which is going to boost whether or not the Aeropress is really good, is if we really can taste a difference in smoothness and quality as opposed to the other methods. And if there really is a physical, to me, difference in the taste, that's gonna be the main thing. So let's start with this guy here, our basic $12 Walmart coffee brewer. Now, we're not doing a coffee profile or anything like we normally do with this stuff. I will say this is definitely, I can taste acidic. It's pretty acidic on that end. So I'm gonna put that back. Let's try our pour over. That is incredibly smooth. Totally night and day difference between these 2 guys right here, believe it or not. Incredibly smooth. I have a little bit more undertone notes of kind of I guess I would say like a nutmeg taste, like a very earthy taste. A little hint of sourness, but other than that, it's incredibly smooth as far as the difference of these 2, just right off the bat. Let's try this guy here. This is our French press. Wow, that's interesting. Totally different flavors I'm getting actually, even between these 2. This is incredibly smooth as well, but I get a little bit more of a kind of a sour note on the front end, whereas this was a little bit different, more on the back end. Very more full-bodied out of this than this. It's kind of interesting. So standard coffee brewer, more of a Chemex style pour over, French press. Now we're gonna get into the actual Aeropress. This should be the best tasting one. Let's find out. It's kind of surprising, I'll be honest with you. I actually have a little bit more flavor out of all of them. As far as a boldness, flavor, like I can taste all the notes in the coffee. I gotta say, the Aeropress I can do that with. These other ones, not so much. I don't know why. I mean, we can contemplate what's making the difference here, but I'm gonna tell you, this is very much like the French press. And believe it or not, it's even hotter, which is kind of interesting. Even though it was the last one I brewed, but still, it's actually hotter. And that might have to do with the fact that after you brew that small shot, you're actually adding hot water to it, which doesn't change because you're pouring it through a filter, all that water, and changing it, so it might be hotter, last hotter longer than any other method, which is very interesting. I haven't seen anything talking about that, but that's something to note. Has a little bit of sourness to it. Once again, that could just be the notes of the coffee itself, because I'm sensing a theme here. Very good medium blend coffee with all of these. A little bit acidic, a little bit of sourness. Excuse me, but this one here, I actually can taste the difference. So let's go back. I will say this is a little bit more of a sweeter coffee, a little bit more of a sweeter, I wouldn't say, I definitely taste the sourness, but most people would say, hey, this is probably a great cup of coffee. The French press, believe it or not, the French press, I don't get any of the sweetness. It's literally just, it's almost like that dead coffee. I don't know how to explain it. Like as soon as you put it in your mouth, you taste it. You have some flavors there, but it's pretty dead. It's not uplifting. I don't know how to explain it. It's just bold, but there's no sweetness to it. It tastes pretty flat. And I can taste more acidity in this. Let's try the pour over. Now the pour over, excuse me, I don't know why I'm losing my voice here. The pour over, I taste more kind of water on the front end. I don't get a lot of boldness like I do with the French press or the Aeropress up front. It's more just a flat, almost like I'm tasting water up front, and then really I get the flavors all on the back end. Now, just to note, all these are exactly the same color coffee too. So we know it's not, okay, I brewed this one too light, added too much water here or what have you. I brewed these based on what they are. So if I brewed a single cup here, I put the right amount of water in it to brew a single cup. French press, I'm brewing basically 2 cups of coffee. I brewed the same ratio for water to coffee as in this guy or this guy. So, you know, just so you know, these two were doubles, these two were singles. I put the right amount of water for each, and the color also helps confirm that, because there's not really a difference in color in any of these. But this is definitely, I would say this is probably the smoothest as far as not getting a lot of coffee taste. How do I say that? We're drinking black coffee here. But this one, in other words, is almost like I didn't get all the coffee. So maybe the extraction, I didn't do the best. Maybe this thing, this is, to be honest, one of the first times I'm using this guy in particular. I've used the Chemex. I know how to brew with all that from the past. The difference is maybe just how it brews, maybe too much water extraction. Where the Aeropress is supposed to really excel is when you put that water in, that extraction time, it's supposed to be optimal compared to these other methods. And I'm gonna tell you, so far, I think they're right about that. I can actually really taste a bold cup of coffee, kind of if you're sipping and this is the front end and this is the back end, I'm getting all the coffee right here, which is where I believe you should be getting the coffee. Now let's go back to this guy. We let it sit long enough. I gotta say, this is the worst one. Very acidic. It's kind of a shame, really. And you don't think in coffee, if you guys have ever done a cupping, maybe we'll do a cupping here, a live cupping or something for you guys here in the future, which I think would be a great way for you guys to understand really the tastes that I'm going through. and how to kind of understand as coffee sits in different flavors and how you do these different brew methods, how coffee can change. It really can. It's almost like sipping wine. So I would say this one's probably the worst. You know, the French press, I like it. I like the French press because I can at least taste all the flavors. This guy here, I do like how it brewed. I can taste it. It's very, very smooth. It's probably smoother than a French press, but at the same time, the cost is I don't feel like I'm tasting a lot of coffee. And quite honestly, it could just be the way this method is when I brewed this, I brewed it for a single cup as opposed to doing two. This unit itself might be better to brew two. Shouldn't really matter that much, but I will tell you guys, let's just get to the point here. This Aeropress coffee, I can definitely taste the difference. It's just full body all the way through, and it tastes good all the way through. These other ones, I'm tasting a little bit of sourness, I'm tasting a little bit of acidity. It's not quite that, you know, Goldilocks zone. And I'm going to tell you, this Aeropress, I was not, like I said, I went out and I bought this thing myself. I really wanted to sit down and see if there was a really big difference here. And I'm going to tell you, just from trying this black coffee, I can taste the difference. So I would say if you haven't had an Aeropress yet, I would suggest go out and buy one and really see what we're doing here and taste it. I do think there is a difference. I actually really do like this one. As opposed to even all these other ones. The closest, I'd say second runner up would be these two. Probably the French press, maybe even better than a pour over. As crazy as that sounds, could just be this particular pour over system that I'm brewing with here. But we'll do some more studies on this guy as well. But this is a great pour over just from the looks of it and how it's made. I actually like it better than a Chemex. As far as this $12, you know, we were looking at this thing, comparing it to the Keurig and all that, and comparing it to the Walmart brewer. Yeah, guys, there definitely is, as far as a flavor, if you want to be really pristine and really look at the flavors down to this level, there's no comparison. This thing you just throw away. You know, these three here really got it down to where it's smooth and stuff. This one, I'd say there's a little bit more kind of grit to the flavor. But other than that, I think Aeropress worked well, and it's something that I recommend you guys, if you guys are thinking about getting an Aeropress, check them out, go to their website. They got some videos of different ways to brew with an Aeropress that I've researched. You could do a cold brew, you could do all these different types of methods. But yeah, guys, that's my honest kind of part 2 review of this with the Aeropress. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy, please, please, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel because we are everything about coffee. And the more you guys watch, the more it helps us to produce and make these videos happen for you guys. And really, we want to just learn with you all the different ways with coffee. And right now, you know, they said Aeropress, is it worth the hype? That was my first video title. I might say yes, it is. So if you're interested, check it out, Aeropress, and I will see you guys next time. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video today. And if you want to see more great content, click here. Have you subscribed yet? Click here. Do you want to find out more about Hot Shots? Go to hotshotscatering.com and find out why we are the premier gourmet coffee caterer in the DFW Metroplex. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.